You can actually find a bunch around. Jaren actually kind of goes off and like, as you kind of think that thought, he leaves the perch he has on your shoulder and kind of flies into the trees and actually like brings back a bunch of different things that he kind of like sets in your hand and kind of like expectantly looks at you. And as you're walking along, he kind of like snacks out of your hand a little bit and just kind of like eating some birdseed. From
yeah, remind me, what do I remember from my childhood about the Worm King Caverns?
Great. I'll actually use that as a segue kind of going into our next bit then. So y'all actually approach the cliff face, and as you approach, for the rest of you who aren't familiar with this area, although Ivo knows this well, this is one of the reasons why Worm King Caverns is so difficult to get to from any other way except New Blackford. The cliffs here kind of naturally form almost right to the edge of the island. There's no real way to land an airship or something else offhand and kind of get there. There's no other really approachable space except for this tiny sliver of land that leads to it. At almost the far end of this cliff face is this kind of ominous looking like huge crack in the side of this cliff. It's almost sheer. It's like almost straight vertical, going up for hundreds of feet, leading into the rest of the mountains near the kind of the western end of the island. But this huge crack, which seems like it was made ages ago, is huge. So I'll read you a little bit of the descriptor as we kind of go through there. So the Worm King Caverns are an ominous and dangerous cave system near the southwestern end of the Broken Spine Mountains on the island of Mirabar. It has long had a reputation for devouring those who venture too deeply. Near the entrance, the walls are craggy and frozen, as much of the same kind of frozen landscape of Mirabar is. But the interior is not explored very deeply because the reputation is that the cave systems will kind of devour you. Many people have gone in, almost none have gone out, and the ones who have come back out have only gone in just a few feet to kind of say that they've done it as kind of a proof of manliness or bravery, but not actually going in too deeply. Any of who have gone in deeply have either never shared it or have not come back.
I wonder if robots are a sparrow. It's
like the proverbial canary in the coal mine.
So there's no greater folklore or anything about like what could, like a fable of what could save your life if you go in there, anything to be aware of. It's just basically what you described.
Yeah. Don't go in or you will die.
Cool. But I'm still remind me of the root thought that, with that said, it's known that there's this path will get me going through the caverns will get me up to Raven's Rock, though, right? That's kind of
Karna shared that there's like an emergency exit or a secret exit that leads outside through the Worm King Caverns.
Okay.
She says it's not really traversed a lot, of course, but she as the crown bearer would know every inch of Raven's Rock, the fortress you're trying to go into, and she knows that there is an exit that leads out of Raven's Rock through Worm King Caverns.
Got it.
The other thing I will say, like, Worm King Caverns is not small. It is like miles deep. So you are literally going under the earth for at least a mile, kind of inward into the mountain system. If not further.
So I'll turn to Rowena and basically ask, do you want to consult your new sparrow friend for any advice on traversing these caverns, or maybe what happened where he went or it went wrong?
Yeah, and I translate. Wait, can sparrow?
Say that again, Rowena. You're cutting out just a little bit.
Jaren hear when? Can the sparrow hear when other?
He can hear him. Yeah, he can hear him.
Okay, well, so I facilitate this and wait for his reply.
He kind of shares back some images that you can kind of sense in your head, and you see this image of like this, like long dark tunnel system that at first is very craggy and uneven, and like it seems like a normal cave system as it goes through. As you get deeper, it feels the cold and murky and oddly humid in a strange way. As he kind of continues showing these images, suddenly the walls are no longer craggy and rocky and sharp. They're suddenly cylindrical and smooth. Let's see how much more he would see. Roll a survival check. Let's see how far he got in there.
Okay.
As soon as the tunnels became cylindrical, you see kind of your own vision look up, and a rock, just like giant boulder, falls from the ceiling. The ground quakes below you, sending this rock down on top of you, and you assume that's where he died.
Okay. And I relate this all to the group.
Cool.
So it appears there's lots of booby traps.
So it seems. Okay. Well, I think we knew what we were getting into. It's nice to have a little bit of advice, but let's get to it. Let's boogie, as we always have been saying. I think it's good, maybe before we jump into it, if everyone wants to take a little look at their inventory as far as stuff that might help us in case of cave-ins with so I think especially like rope. Be conscious if we have rope or anything that we could use to kind of rescue each other in case we get into a little bit of a tight spot. Even a torch, even though we have some of us have dark vision. But yeah, with that in mind, I think I'm at least ready to roll. Let's get in there and find my paramour.
All right.
Find your paramour. I thought you were finding the well of many.
Well, you're right. No, I say well of many worlds, and then I wink at everyone but Crag.
Crag, roll a perception check.
No!
Which one?
So remember, look in your skills column. Look for perception.
Perception. Okay.
Cool. I'll see that here in a moment.
I have rope.
I got a question for
I know
too.
it's
I have rope as well.
Yeah, you should all have a Dungeoneer's pack or Engineer's pack. Crag has no clue about. He seems completely oblivious to any type of winking or funny shenanigans happening about the Well of Many Worlds. He's just like, yeah, we're on this mission. Let's go. So y'all are entering the caves. As you go through, again, the caves, the first few like dozen feet in the caves are pretty wide because this crack is huge. It like the crack is almost halfway up this like 100-foot cliff face. And so as you enter, like there's a lot of headroom with a lot of, like, you can almost all walk in side by side. But as you go in, maybe another dozen feet, a few more, maybe 50 feet. Now you're at like 100 feet. It almost suddenly gets just completely claustrophobic. It's maybe 5 feet wide, just enough for y'all to walk single file lines down this space. Some places open up a little bit more. Others are really narrow. For the most part, you're having to stay pretty much side by side with each other. And it is pitch black. The light does not get in here, and the walls are still freezing cold. Can I have a marching order? Who's going to be... I need to know who's in front and who's in the end.
It might be useful for me to be in front of Jaren, but also I don't have dark.
So I imagine Crag knows.
Oh, yes. Go first.
Yeah.
I would take the lead. I have a torch, so.
Perfect. Yeah, go for it, buddy.
My question is, does Crag really know where this many worlds even is?
Just to help Crag out here, Crag has never been inside this place, ever.
Why did we get sent on this mission with an amateur?
Okay, so Crag's in front with the torch. He lights the torch up. Okay. Who else is, who's in the very end? Who's at the rear?
Let's put Thad at the rear.
Okay. That is at the end?
Yeah.
All right, fine. And you kind of see him, like, as he goes, like, kind of kicks a rock and, like, whatever, this is stupid. And, like, drinks a drink from his flask and keeps going.
Yeah.
He's embarrassed.
This is dumb. So fucking helm. And he keeps walking on. Y'all kind of make it through there. I would like Crag, since he's in the front, and then I'll roll for Thad. Crag, if you could roll a survival check for me. And because you have a torch, you can do it at advantage.
Survival's in what section again?
All in the skills. Still in that skills list. Look for survival.
It's the bottom one.
And then I right-click for advantage, right?
Yep, correct.
It's a good roll for that.
Yeah, I should play that all the time. Just kidding, Jesse. Please come back. We miss you.
He's watching. He's doing his own thing. He's watching us.
Let's see what
He's
Crag
live
got.
tweeting this whole thing.
Let's see what Crag got as well. Okay, so Crag is kind of just like walking along, not having a lot of luck finding the way, but the torch is helping a lot, so he hasn't like tripped over himself. Up ahead, the caverns start to fork. It is now not a single file kind of marchway any longer. It is a complex series of tunnels. And Crag is just kind of like following intuition, you think, like he just kind of keeps going in whichever way it goes through, and he like there's now a fork of like 3 different pathways, and Crag just like guesses and keeps going straight. As you take a few more steps, from the distance you hear this skittering, like a and it seems to be growing louder as if it's moving towards you. Fortunately, Thad goes, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't go that way, you big blue idiot." And like pulls the group and walks in the other direction. Pulls you down another sideways, kind of walks you back a little bit. And now Thad is in the front. Crag is in the rear as you guys march into this new one. Since we're in the front again, Crag, I need you to roll another survival check. As you've now made like the first mile into this cave system. And then Thad will roll one as well since he's in the front.
No advantage, just regular survival?
You can still do advantage because you have the torch.
Torch.
Okay. Let's see how Craig did.
Crag, have you seen the Well of Many Worlds before? If we find it, do you know what it looks like?
I have no idea what this thing looks like.
So I'll say yes, you do. If you know where it is, you'll find it. You'll know it when we get there. So actually, this time, another fork comes up. This time, there's like 5 or 6. What y'all haven't noticed is that Thad has like slowly been like drinking from his ale flask this entire time, and is just a little bit too drunk to realize where he's going, and he gets a little lost. And as he kind of walks through, he kind of bumps into something and like what? And then looks up and holds, kind of gets like the torch a little bit closer, and you kind of hear it before you see it, but it's this like, and it is the form of this giant, huge bug creature. In fact, it looks like this. Let me show you. It should be on your map screen so you see it, but it looks like this, except seemingly asleep. And because Crag kind of saw it before y'all all ran into this thing and hit it with your torch, suddenly Crag shouts out from behind and says, other way! And then all of you just take off in the other direction, trying to avoid this thing to go down another tunnel system. Can I have all of you roll a stealth check to see if you avoid this thing without waking it?
Ooh.
I'm going to do a group check, stealth check. Remember, if you have heavy armor and you have disadvantage, roll at disadvantage. Nice job, Zunis.
Wow.
Oh, I gotta love the zeros.
Wow.
All right.
Disadvantage, screwed.
I'm noobing again. Disadvantage where you roll twice and take the worst one.
Exactly right.
I'm also disadvantaged.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, so looking at your scores, this thing does kind of like wake up, and then you just hear this like massive just scream from this, and then the whole cave just fills with the same noise from that same direction, and suddenly you just see the glow of these eyes shining your torchlight as they all start charging towards you. We're going to do a little skill challenge to see if we can get away from these things safely. So first up is Crag. You are like hauling ass away from this thing. Nice. I'm glad that one happened for you, P. Crag, I would like you, I'm going to kind of tell you what the role is because I didn't explain the skill challenge, but for the rest of the group, basically, I want you to kind of narrate how you're trying to get the fuck out of this place before these things get you going. Crag, can I have you roll an athletics check for me to see if you can run fast enough to get out of this particular tunnel system?
Okay, rolling athletics.
Perfect. Let's see what we get. Waiting for that roll to come through. We need to make a GoFundMe now for Jesse's phone and for Joe Lau's computer so his rolls are faster. Perfect. That's a success. You guys are just hauling ass. Crag is taking off. Like, at a certain point, he was like, fuck this thing, and just takes off down the chute. You guys barely see his torchlight in the distance. Next up, we'll say, is going to be Zunis. Zunis, how are you going to try and get away from these things? And then I will tell you what skill you can use to do that.
I'm going to try to use my acrobatics and see if I can somersault and flip my way out.
Perfect. All right.
Kind of shocking.
Yeah, do it. Roll an acrobatics check for me. Let's see if you can kind of like dodge roll through this thing.
Ooh.
Okay, perfect. So as you guys are running, you kind of feel the ground underneath you quake. And you're not sure if it's from the stampede of these giant insects behind you or from some other unknown force in this cave. But as you're running, a giant boulder threatens to kill you like it did Jaren. But you dodge roll out of the way and just keep going. As you look behind you, you hear more of these boulders just kind of... And you just hear the squishing of carapaces exploding as these creatures are just kind of being crushed by it. Then we'll go ahead and put, let's say, Ivo behind Zunis. Ivo, narrate how you're trying to get away from this. We'll ask for maybe 2 more successes, I think, with this group. And if we do, we'll say that we're away from these creatures.
Zunis, what did you do? Somersaults? Is that what you said?
he did acrobatic. Roll away.
So I'm going to do... what could be good? Oh, this could be kind of cool. So I'm gonna do a much like we are. No, it's not weird. I'm gonna basically. This happened in a fantasy movie with a guy named Legolas, but I'm essentially gonna grab my shield, jump on it, and push off to slide away as quick as possible down the path away from the creatures.
Okay. I'm going to do this a little strangely then because we already use acrobatics. Ivo, I want you...
Athletics?
We used athletics. That was the first one that we did.
Oh, I thought it was just acrobatics. Well, shoot. Well, I'm on it, though.
I think I got it. I want you to do a performance check for how badass that looks.
Oh, good call. Oh, yeah, Garb. Yeah, what's it do? So let's find out.
Let's see, what did we get? Yeah, you did not succeed. So you try to get your shield out in front of you, and it skids further than you think, and you jump to try to get on it, but you just land on empty ground. And you look back and go, fuck, as you keep going. And one of the, like jaws of these insect creatures kind of snaps and just barely misses you as you keep going, pick up your shield and keep running, but you guys lose a little bit of ground there. We'll go to Lilu next. Lilu, tell me how you think you're going to get away from this thing.
Okay. Can I... Ooh. I think I'm supposed to be a fast runner. Can I run ahead and then shoot at the ceiling to see if some of the cave falls down on the creature?
Sure. Yes. Let me see if that's exactly what you want to do. I will give you a choice. You can either choose to do a survival check or a nature check to more like pinpoint if you can understand where the weak points are in the cave wall.
What was the first one?
Nature or survival. Yep. Whichever one feels better for you.
Not great.
What do we get? Let's see. It's loading. Yeah, not great. So you like shoot off one of your arrows as you tink, shoot it off in that way, and it kind of hits off a bit, and a bit kind of shakes, but not quite enough as you just kind of keep going. I need. Let's have Dent go next. How are you going to try and get away from these things?
Well, you know the words, baby. Hither and dither. Hither and hither.
Hither and dither. So we're on the broom. I'm going to just give you an auto success because you've got a fucking flying broom. It only carries you, but you're on the fucking hither and thither mobile and just take the fuck off, passing Crag and just like looking back. No expression, of course, on your robot face as you're like, I'm not going to be here anymore. And you're gone. So we'll call that one a success. You guys are at 3 successes. Rowena will have you, and then Thad will close up shop to hopefully get away from these things before they're on top of you.
Okay, so this has to be a regular skill, right?
If you have something else you'd like to do, like a magic item or a ability that you'd like Dent used with his broom, you are welcome to. But if you would like to use a skill, you can do a skill instead.
I'm going to try chill touch that.
Okay, so you're trying to actually like hurt one of them.
Yeah.
Chill touch is an attack roll. Go ahead and roll an attack roll with chill touch to see if it lands.
Okay. Am I just pressing the hit?
Yep.
Or...
Yep, that hit and then whatever the bonus is to it. That is enough to hit one of these things. So it does grab them kind of by the one of the legs, and you actually see this like spectral hand shoot out of yours, and you've never done anything like this before as you find this well of magic from somewhere, and it reaches out and grabs one of these creatures kind of like front insecty pokey legs and like grabs it and kind of like pulls back from under him as it kind of trips and the rest kind of topple all through him. The cave-in is continuing to kind of collapse, crushing the rest of these ones, blocking them off. You are all able to finally get back to the first intersection that Thad mistakenly led you down, away from these creatures as you hear more kind of boulders falling behind you, sealing off that entrance. As you kind of come to a stop, you see that there's now only one place to proceed, and you kind of start looking out into a kind of opening a little bit in front of you that seems to be a little bit different off in the distance. And I will get to there in one moment. I just want to double check we're at a okay place to kind of take a break if anyone needs one. If anyone needs a bio break, now's a good time, or we can keep going. Just wanted to give you guys the option if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'd like a quick break.
Yeah, let's take a quick 5. And then while we have that set up, I'm just going to switch that over. Okay.
Sorry.
Bernie, I'm still using the desk you gave me 8 years ago. Literally 8 years ago today.
It's a nice little anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, right, it's your...
Or yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw your tweet, Mo. Good tweet.
All right. So you guys kind of finish traversing through this area. Specifically, I'll read a little bit of what you kind of see out loud for all of you so you can kind of get a sense of it. So after trekking thousands of feet into the ground beneath Mirabar, the dark, jagged tunnels open into tall and wide pathways. The walls are shorn smooth as if by some type of giant drill. The diameter seems large enough to house a giant comfortably. The temperature, already frigid in the caverns before, now seems even colder. For those who can see, the paths in front of them fork in 3 directions. But before they can choose a path to pursue, the ground below you tremors, and pieces of rock fall from the ceiling just in front of you. It's clear that you'll need to move quickly before any of these other tremors cause more damage. And I will show you what you see here in a moment. So I think we had Thad in the front still. Although technically Dent was in front because of his Meshuggah. Let me move these around. Get you a little bit closer. Alright, we'll just put most of you in this space. So in front of you, you all see basically 3 pathways. You notice that the ground is shaking. I would like... I would like Dent, because you took off on the broom, you're in front. I would like you to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh! Is it stealth in here? I'm seeing dex as in stealth.
Look in the top left under the saving throws box. Not in your skills box.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Oh, baby. Now that's a great roll.
Okay. So as you're kind of flying through on hither and thither your magical broom, that tremor, you don't really notice because you're on the air. And from above, a boulder falls from the ceiling, and you take 4 points of damage as this thing just crushes on top of you. The broom takes a little bit of damage, but you're able to kind of recover it. Not done yet, but you're able to kind of recover it. You are walking now, though. But that being said, there are 3 pathways in front of you, friends. Which way would you like to go?
We haven't been down. Have we been down any of these already?
You have not. This is a new kind of space. You are certain you've not been here before because the walls here are very different. They're no longer narrow and jagged and rocky. They're almost cylindrical and smooth.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Natural Explorer, but it's for the forest.
Sure.
Does that mean I could still do it anywhere else, or is it only for when I'm in a forest?
Only for when you're in forest.
Then I can't help y'all.
DM, can I use Eagle Eye to try to perceive and look down each path to see if I notice anything? I know it's darkness, but by chance, if I can perceive anything?
Great question. Here's what I'll say. Normally, even if it's in darkness, you would get disadvantage because it's even with your dark vision, it's still, you can't see very far. But with the eyes of the eagle giving you advantage, I'll just say it's a straight roll. So just roll a perception check and let's see what you see. Okay, pretty good. So there are a few pathways in front of you. All of them seem to be empty without anything really in them. To your left, you can tell that while it's empty, it seems to be a little bit broader. Most of the cold seems to be coming from this space, though. From your right, there is another kind of major pathway in front of you. It does seem as though there's an odd like crack in the wall that from this angle you can't quite tell if it leads somewhere, but it almost seems like you could maybe squeeze through it somehow.
Interesting. Try, yeah.
Sorry, I'm learning.
Oh, no, take your time, no rush.
I also have...
Can I? Oh, sorry.
Primordial awareness? Primordial awareness?
Primordial awareness. Is that the one?
No. Primeval. Primeval. It's under her features and traits.
Sorry, primeval, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
Would that help?
Let me read it real quick. I don't know that one off the top of my head, but I will find out for you. Let's see. So hard to say if it will help. It could if any of those creatures are around you. You don't know what other types of creatures are there.
Yeah.
So I'll relay what I've seen back to the group. And I think, Rowena, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna try and ask the familiar, although I think this might point after Jared's kill, but try.
Actually, roll a perception check or an investigation check, whichever you prefer. So nearby there are other boulders that seem like they have fallen before you arrived here. Jaren's kind of familiar sparrow kind of flies off and lands on one of the boulders, and it's hard to tell from a bird, but he does look kind of sad. But as he kind of seems to like flutter around the boulder and you look, you don't see a body or anything. You do see the marks or the residue of what appears to be bloodstains on this boulder, but the body is not here.
And which path is that?
This is like right in front of this main intersection, so almost right where you're standing.
Up, so.
Could I use Mage Hand to kind of like try and initiate any traps ahead of us?
You could try.
Yeah, I'd like to try that.
So where are you going to try to send Mage Hand? And I think Mage Hand's max range is like 30 feet. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes, 30 feet.
So which way do you want to try to send Mage Hand?
Does anyone have any preference about which quarter?
So I feel like the left path probably wouldn't be good if it's getting the most cold air. I'm imagining that means that it's opening up to a lower part of the earth. It's just getting colder, unless I don't know what else. Or maybe it means that it's closer to an exit point. I don't know. But I feel like the left way may not be the best way to go. So maybe the middle or the right. I don't know if anyone else has a different read on it, but feeling that the cold was coming from the left, I feel like that's not the sign that you want to go down it.
That's good.
I have arguments against all three. So.
And that's the point.
We go in the middle or the right because we already know something about the left. How about let's go with that?
So I narrow it down to the middle or the right.
Let's go right.
My argument against the right is just the farthest from where we're trying to go.
Actually, it's a good point. The robot in me would probably not want to go the farthest.
And the center, it appears
Your
markings, which make me assume there's some kind of blocks.
logic is sound.
May I try this spell?
Sure.
Or I'd like to act Divine Sense.
Okay.
Detecting, well, I don't know if there's any creatures here, or whether they have, some kind of motive, like good or evil. I imagine evil,
Yeah.
but
Totally.
if I can. I don't actually think I've ever used Divine Sense, so I'm not entirely sure how to put it into action.
Let me see if any celestial fiends or undead are near you. So you send out Divine Sense. You do not get anything in return. So you get the sense that nothing like that is within 30 feet of you.
What about you, Crag? You picking up anything over there?
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Sure. What's the range on Detect Magic?
I believe it is 10 meters, 30 feet.
30 feet. There is...
10 minutes. That's what it was.
So right now where you are, there is nothing hidden up on the radar, so to speak, or the sonar of Detect Magic. You can't quite tell. There doesn't seem to be anything magical near you.
I'm just gonna start walking straight.
Okay. So you start walking into this kind of area. I need you to roll a Dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Okay. So as you walk into this space, another giant tremor just kind of hits. And this one feels sudden and sharp. You take... six points of bludgeoning damage as rocks fall on top of you. These rocks are actually, they're heavier than you are. You are having a hard time getting them off. You are pinned down in this center space. with boulders kind of blocking most of your path in front of you. You can try to keep getting around them, but you are stuck in this space currently.
So 6 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was anyone else going straight with him, by the way? I think Dent said he was going to keep going.
I was.
Dent, I need you to make that same dexterity saving throw.
Why I gotta be like this?
Just how it goes. And then, Rowena, you said you were going right with Mage Hand. Dent, you also failed that saving throw, and you take 6 points of damage as well, and are also pinned underneath this boulder. Rowena, if you went right, your passive perception is very high. It is really dark in this space, though, so I will help out a little bit because I think the Mage Hand use was a little clever. You're kind of using Mage Hand to kind of grab through the wall and like feel along it. And as you kind of feel it, you kind of sense that your Mage Hand is almost like grabbed a hold of something because it's not returning. And you remember that Ivo mentioned there's a bit of a crack in this wall over there that seems weird. In here, you notice there seems to be like a little bit of a crack in the wall that you think you could actually cheat through in this space. Let me see if I can show it for you. So let's get Rowena back. And let me see if I can get that moved. Wall layer. I want to just send one of these other things. So there's a little bit of a crack in the wall. It seems that it actually leads into a bit of a tunnel that you can kind of follow. The tunnel is extremely narrow. You can barely squeeze through. You'd have to try to force yourself through, but the tunnel does seem to be going somewhere on this side.
I'd like to follow the tunnel.
Okay.
And
If you would
okay,
like
to the group, that's fine.
if you would like to follow the tunnel, then I want you to do something for me. I'll tell you what. I'm so sorry. Campaign just went away. Burp, 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 burp. Okay, I need you to roll an athletics or acrobatics check to try to squeeze through this space. Did anyone else see Rowena go in this direction? By the way, Rowena, you can't really see very, like, at all in front of you. It's like pitch black. You're just kind of feeling the wall here. So you are, pardon me, you are wedged in this wall. You are not able to get quite through it yet right now. At this point, you're kind of stuck in this pitch black area, unable to move further.
Yeah. Yeah, can I... What exactly? Can I take my... What, throw it back to you? Or can I hook up my rope to my short bow and shoot it on ahead of me? See if I can latch on to anything.
You want to shoot it ahead of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll. I want you to do two things with me. It's going to be a little bit difficult. It's you can't see anything, but you're going to try. So I want you to roll an attack roll at disadvantage, and then I just want you to roll a d20.
Okay.
Okay.
Then a d20.
And then just a d20.
We need that.
Okay. So you kind of shoot your bow, and it kind of, you hear it first kind of ping, like it didn't land or find purchase, but then it almost seems like you heard another, like a ricochet, almost like it kind of went a little lower and kind of dug in, and you pull on the bow, and it does, or the string on the rope that you tied to it, and it does seem like it's got a grab on something. Go ahead and roll another athletics check for me at advantage, since you've got a little bit of leverage here to try to squeeze yourself through. Okay, so you pull on this rope, and you pull and you yank and you pull, and you work your way kind of free of this space. And as you kind of keep getting a little bit more room and try to just keep finding an area that's not so kind of tight, you do actually find yourself out into another space that you still can't see in. It's pitch black in here. There is no light. And you kind of tumble out into an opening at the end of this tunnel, but you cannot see anything else around you. I need you to roll another d20 for me. Okay. You try to get up and walk around. And at first, as you're just kind of feeling along the wall, you first feel like rock, like that smooth rock that you have kind of just come from in the bigger area when you first came into this space. And then all of a sudden you start feeling something squishy. And it feels like, you've touched plant life before. This feels like plant life. And you kind of like, okay, maybe there's some water or something around. And then you kind of keep going up. And then you feel this really large, squishy thing that now doesn't feel like plant life exactly. It feels squishier, almost like a mushroom. And as you squeeze it, this puff of something flies in your face. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Is this like the smoke along version where like now everyone takes a hit?
So you start coughing very violently. Remind me. Okay, yeah, you start coughing very violently. And as you're kind of coughing and hacking this up, you get the sense that you just inhaled something incredibly toxic to you. You end up taking 10 points of damage. Actually, scratch that. I think. Remind me of your feat with Talona. Are you resistant or immune to?
I thought overridden.
Not quite yet.
Okay. Then my feet I do waves.
Are you immune to poison damage or just resistant to poison damage?
I think it's resistant.
Okay, so you're only going to take 5 points of damage. And in the back of your head, you hear this. You're welcome. You may want to think about the other voices you have in your brain. Mine might be a little bit more useful. By the way, that one's a really gross one. You might want to get rid of that one before it kills you. And then the voice kind of goes away. You are under a certain disease that you're not 100% sure yet, but you are certain you just inhaled something that is potentially very deadly. Can you do me a favor? I need you to roll a d12 for me.
Okay.
Okay. How many is that? Okay. And then what's your Constitution bonus?
Constitution is +1.
Okay, so you remember that number 4. Can you roll a medicine check, a survival check, or a nature check? You can pick whichever one. Okay. You definitely just inhaled some type of poisonous substance. Talona kind of confirmed it for you. And I'll say that Talona is kind of letting you know what this is so you know exactly what is happening. She shares with you this particular thing, which I'm going to put in the chat, if it'll let me anyway. Get that copied in there. Oh, actually, you know what? Scratch all of that. You are immune to poison, even if you're resistant to the damage. it's not going to affect you. So you breathed it in. We'll just retcon that and say Talona saved your life and you're good. But you basically had 4 hours to live, was what would have happened.
Oh my god, okay, well, so I'm good now.
You're good. You still don't know what this thing is that's around you, but you are good.
Do I still have my,
You still took the damage, but only half.
Okay.
Instead of the full. But because you're resistant to poison, or immune to poison, the condition, this won't affect you. So, you're in this dark room with some weird squishy thing in front of you. You have now separated yourself from your party. Dent and Crag are stuck under rocks, and the rest of the group are still kind of at the entrance.
You guys want to turn around?
I'd love to kind of get out of this rock.
Roll an athletics check to
can
see
we-
if you can get out from it.
Let's just see if my natural ability can get me.
Maybe.
Let's see, 12? How
You
would I feel about
cannot.
12?
You are still stuck.
What if I asked again?
Nope. Crag, do you want to try and get out of that as well? Roll a athletics check for me.
Okay.
I believe in you, Mac. Crag actually is pissed and angry and just throws this boulder off. I'll take that roll for the same one for Dent just to expedite it a bit for you. And he kind of walks over to where Dent's boulder is and just like with one hand just throws it off of
I have
you.
a quick question. This was my backup plan. If I had cast Alter Self and
Sure.
changed myself to like something tiny, could I have just like walked out?
You can't change your form that much with
Okay.
Alter Self. You'd have to stay the same size as you are now. So it wouldn't
Well,
change.
visual. Got it.
But you are free. Crag has freed you. Kind of looking around. The path in front of you is pretty well blocked. But where would you like to go from here? Technically, y'all don't know where Rowena is. You just know she kind of walked into this crack in the wall on the right side.
Does Jaren know where Rowena is?
Jaren will just say followed her through the crack because he's a sparrow. He can fit in pretty well.
So we can't go straight anymore, right? Because it's blocked by boulders.
You can try and squeeze through, but it'd be a pretty tight squeeze.
Can I,
Okay.
go,
Say that again?
can I just go right?
Yeah. Do you want to just like go up this tunnel?
Like it there. Quiet.
Okay. So how far do you want to go about into this space? Or do you want to follow Rowena?
I can go up a little bit more, see if there's anything there.
So it seems to fork off again.
It's turning into the Batmans.
In front of you, you see that now, like this cave system is odd. It's very smooth along the walls, and the width is almost like eerily consistent. It's not perfect. It's still cave-ish, but eerily consistent in its width and its height.
Is there a way for me to tell if it's man-made and not a real cave at this point?
Sure. Roll a nature check. Is anyone else going with her, by the way, or are you all kind of staying back here?
I'm staying.
Stay back for now.
Ugh.
Can she communicate with us? Can we hear her? If
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, this is it.
Yeah, you're only about maybe 60, 70 feet away from each other. You're not far. Each block here is about 5 feet. So you're having a real hard time telling. It's an odd feel. Your gut tells you it's natural, but you really can't tell.
Well, let's wait there until people decide what to do.
Well,
You decide, or the
better
Tremors
than
decide. One of the two.
So I would say seeing Lilu take the right path unharmed and still not knowing where Rowena is, but seeing that she moved up and at least I'm gonna beckon to both Zunis and Thad to kind of follow, and we head up. If they will go with me, head up the right side of the right tunnel.
Okay, so you're following Lilu? Okay. Are you going to pass Lilu, or are you going to stay where she is?
I'll come up to the new fork in the road.
Okay, once you hit the fork in the road, the tremors strike again. I need everyone here to roll that dexterity saving throw.
I was going to say we should send Thad on a suicide mission to the other side to see if that was the...
Oh, you never know. He might. Let's see what he gets.
Wait, do I do the dexterity? Throw
Did you go with them, or did you stay here with Dent?
So far, I'm staying where I'm at.
Okay, so no.
Great.
So, Zunis, and Ivo and Thad all take... Oh, not too bad. You all take 2 points of damage as more boulders kind of fall and cave in a little bit. And you are able to dodge it. These aren't huge boulders on this one, so the pathway has not been blocked. But you do take a little bit of damage from rocks falling that you're unable to avoid. Only one who was able to avoid it was Lilu. For the rest, you guys all feel the tremors, but no rocks are falling near you.
So I guess at this point, getting concerned because Rowena isn't anywhere around, I'm going to call out Rowena to call out for her to see if she can hear me.
Okay. Rowena can hear you.
All right, and I call back down this tunnel.
Okay. You hear her voice coming from somewhere here-ish. It's hard to say, but it's bouncing off some walls in this space.
I'd like to go over and investigate it to see if I can see a tunnel or an entrance. I noticed that other little crack in the wall before.
Sure. So it does open up into another chamber cavern. If you go into it, you can then see a little bit of what's going on. It is an open space that is kind of odd. Like there seems to be some liquid or moisture here. Somehow the liquid in this space, or the ice in this space, heated up enough to kind of melt and form little puddles that, like some of the more hardy fauna or flora have kind of survived on despite the sunlight. So really, it's mostly fungus. You didn't know that it's sprayed her before, but you see what this thing is that she was touching. It almost looks like a floating eyeball, but almost vegetal. And it's just floating in this space serenely, not really moving. It seems to be tethered almost by vines. But for Rowena, who still doesn't see this and just hears your voice, doesn't know what's going on.
So she's right next to it, or that has wrapped around her?
She's just right next to it. She just touched it.
I'm like, hey, Rowena, follow my voice. Come quickly.
And can I light a torch?
You can, sure.
Okay, I do that, and
Okay, you still can't see as you're lighting this torch. I want you to roll one more d20 to see if it interacts with this creature. Okay, so you start lighting this torch. You're kind of sparking your flint, trying to get this torch on. And you spark and you miss, and you spark and you miss. And these sparks kind of light up this thing in front of you. It's kind of panicking you a little bit more. But finally, one of the sparks catches, and this flame erupts. In a half a breath second, you kind of see this flame, and it's just a hair away from this creature in front of you. But you're able to pull it back really quickly before it hits it. And as you look into this thing, its little kind of eye in the center suddenly goes and looks at this light. It doesn't seem aggressive or angry, only that it's now noticed your being there with this fire, this flame. You get the sense if this thing had come in contact with the flame, it would not have been good, and you quickly try to double time it away from it and head towards Ivo in front of you.
And I tell him that thing's poisonous. Don't go near it.
Yeah, it works for me. We come back with Thad and come back over by Thad and Zunis and Lilu. We found a couple more tunnels to go down.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm just going to add a light source to you, Rowena, because you said you've got one now. Let me see if I remember how to do that. Light source enabled. Okay, that should be good to save. So, yep, you can see. Crag, I'm going to say your torch was extinguished in the fall, so you cannot see, but I think Dent can. Other than that, that's where all of you are currently. You can do what you like.
Can I again use the eagle eye to look down either the right or left path?
So you want to go this way?
Sorry, to use the eagle eye to perceive. I have an eagle.
Oh, sure. Roll another perception check, just a straight roll.
Perception.
You can see a bit. None of the really geography looks very different. I will say, kind of coming back to this walkway, you can see that it opens up into a space. Far in front of you, there does seem to be a little bit more of a glow, and just the little, like, faintest bit of an orange flicker, almost from like a flame, coming from somewhere in this region.
Oh, interesting. Like fire flame?
Correct. So, like, kind of from this space, you almost see like a unearthly glow. It almost seems kind of tealish, but very faint. From this region, you see kind of more orange, like flame.
Well, I guess now that Rowena's back with us, then I realize that we're still missing Dent and Crag. So I will call out to them as well to see where they're at and if they're going to come join us.
Yeah, I'll listen and rejoin the party
Okay. You join
through
up
the
with them.
echoes in the cave.
Cool. You join up with them. Dent.
I too will join the adventure party.
All right, you are with them. So you all kind of gathered together once again up near this space.
I would say then let's venture down the tunnel, or at least I would like to start going down, and anyone who wants to follow, basically just straight ahead, and kind of, I guess, taking it a little one step at a time to see what opens up to myself.
So you're going at like a slow crawl, like trying to be stealthy, or you're just going?
Just going, not stealthy, but not like rushing into it. Just taking one easy step at a time.
Okay. Hold on one second for me. All right, awesome. So you kind of going through, you see a little bit more opening up. You do have now with your dark vision, it's faint because you don't see color, but you can see in front of you there seems to be a wider kind of chamber. This is one of the few places that are actually kind of large, and the width is not as like uniform. It seems like a larger space. In the center of this area, there seems to be a giant, almost perfectly symmetrical cylinder pit leading straight down. You can't, from this angle, see how deep it goes. Next to you is a much smaller pathway that also doesn't seem to match the width. This one is also very narrow. The flames are coming from your right. They're like the fire.
Interesting. I am going to... I'm going to head to the right.
Okay. So as you head to the right, by the way, before I get started, is anyone else going with him?
I'll go with.
Okay. I'm going to start. So I heard Rowena, I heard Lilu. Anybody else?
Dent.
Dent's going, okay.
Head
And Maglyssa clue.
cylinder?
Say that again.
We're avoiding the cylinder?
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, going right.
Okay. So Ivo, you start going through. As you're going through there, you hear this like these like huge footsteps landing from in front of you. And from a little bit further inside the room, you hear like this heavy breathing, and then suddenly this giant, sickly purple hand, the hand almost the size of your entire body, grabs the side of the cave wall, and then like pulls the rest of its form out. And from around the corner, as this like head face kind of peeks around and kind of ducks into this narrow hallway that there's no way this creature can fit through, you see one of the ugliest sights you have ever seen. It is the head of a horribly disfigured giant. It looks like this, with just pustules and bits and a giant gross eye. Now, that being said, what's odd and different from this picture is this particular creature doesn't seem angry. His mouth is shaped funny, almost in the form of a smile, trying his best to appear genteel. You even see that he's got a bit of like a waistcoat on that seems to have been sewn together from smaller articles of clothing. There's pants that they kind of put on, again, sewn together from like other articles of clothing, clearly from like smaller creatures that he's taken. He doesn't have any of like these giant clubs or anything with him right now. And as he pokes his head around the corner, you hear him say, "Oh, well, hello there. You must be, I think, is it Rowena? Are you Rowena?"
I don't want to answer.
Oh, he's looking at Ivo. That's all he sees. You get the sense you yelling Rowena out loud, he assumed you are Rowena.
I am Rowena.
Oh, it's wonderful to meet you. We don't normally get visitors to the Worm King at this hour.
Okay.
Please come in. It's wonderful to see you. Where are my mannerisms? Allow me to make your stipulations. Indeed. Please come sit.
All right. And he's like, I perceive no malice or no foul intent, right? He seems perfectly cordial.
Roll an insight check.
So, let's get the scoop on this guy. Insight. Here we go. All right.
He seems very nice, strangely enough. You get the sense you don't know everything what's going down here. This is very weird. But you don't get the sense that he immediately means you any harm.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll follow him. Let's go with it.
Oh, yes, please. I'd love to welcome you to my royal throne room. I, of course, am the Worm King. This is my domicile, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintanceship. Rowena, pray tell, what are you here for?
Looking for passage with some fellow travelers to Raven Rock.
Oh, what an interesting method to take. How did you know you could get to Raven's Rock from here, dear lad?
Just heard it from a friend of a friend.
Interesting. I wish I had friends. I used to have several friends, but I've eaten them.
Well, that's interesting to hear. Well, so is it true that there's a passage to Raven's Rock?
Of course! The Worm King is quite the ally with those in Raven's Rock. We've long had a wonderful partnership, and he kind of points to the side. And you kind of can see, if you enter the room a little bit more, that there's a little bit of a cliff at the far end, and there seems to be reddish stains on the ground in this space over here. As you kind of enter this space, you get the sense the Worm King has made this a bit of a throne room. Of course, this giant creature who is literally 6 times your size sees himself as this like genteel, dignified character who has made a bit of a throne with a bed, like this giant bed of like padding and stuff. There's like broken shelves and crates that he seems to be keeping as his hoard. There's a fire with food cooking, and as he kind of walks up to this fire with you at his back, he kind of rips off the leg of one of the insect creatures you recognize from the past. He's chomping on this thing's leg, and the rest of this giant insect creature is roasting on the spit with bits of his carapace just kind of like popping in the heat. And he looks back at you. Oh, of course, my mannerisms, as we've spoken before. Would you like any? And he just like takes a giant bite out of his mouth and like hands you the rest of the leg.
I'm good. Thank you, though, friend.
Oh, no, I insist. You must. It's delicious.
All right.
This
so
is
I'll take a
This is a delicatessen in 6 other countries.
I'll take a little bit off of it and I chew it, throw it in my mouth and chew it.
Roll a Constitution saving throw. While this is happening, by the way, this giant is very loud. Everyone can hear this. What all are you doing?
We're planning an attack.
Okay.
I'm talking to John, the sparrow.
I'm gonna circle back to that. Ivo, you take a bite of this thing, and like at first you're like, this does not taste good, and you don't think you're gonna be able to swallow it, but you just real quick just down it, and you're like, delicious. Thank you so much. Okay, so what were you doing with the sparrow, Rowena?
Oh, I just want to ask what Jared, the worm, did.
He doesn't know anything of this. You definitely get the sense he died before seeing this. This
I
creature.
think Craig is gonna interject and ask where's the wells of the world.
So Craig is going into this room asking about it?
Yeah, he's gonna ask
Track mind over here.
because he's asking about the pathway out, and I don't care about the pathway out. I want my wells.
So are you just like, I'd like to hear a little bit of what that sounds like to see how the Worm King will react.
So I'll knock the food right out of what's his name, Ivo's hands, and I'll say, "Hey, what's going on? I want to know where the worlds are. Take me to it."
Okay, can I have you roll I'll let you choose. You can either do a persuasion check or an intimidation check to see which one affects him the most.
I'll do an intimidation.
Okay. And this thing is giant. He's like scratching the ceiling with his head. Just putting that out there for context.
Context is everything.
Okay. So he kind of looks at this scene unfolding and he goes, "Oh, well, I must apologize, sir. Clearly, with that show of force, you must be the leader in this party, and this must be your vassal. What was it that you were asking for? I'm not sure if I've heard of this. Many worlds. Many words. Many words. Words. I'm not sure what this is."
Wait, but I do know what this looks like, right?
You do.
Okay. I'm just gonna hustle him again, and I don't know, I'll hit him with my lightning.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna go into an attack. All right.
To try to get him to tell me where this thing is.
Well, so I'm just putting this out there because you want to attack this giant creature. It is absolutely an option. All right, we're going with it. I need him to roll a dex save to see if he gets out of the way of that.
Go out the wild card.
That's why I'm glad Joe came with us.
It's Bernie.
Let's see.
This guy
He needs to beat a 13. Let's see how he does. Dex save. Burp. Any pluses to his dexterity? No, looks like not. So, just gonna roll a straight roll. Okay, he does make his save, so he's only gonna take half damage. But next to that breath weapon, it says 3d6. Go ahead and roll it, and he'll take half.
Weapon 3d6. So I click on the 3d6.
Mm-hmm. See what we get. Awesome. So he's going to take 4 points of damage, which to him is not lots. Like barely, like it doesn't even phase him. But he looks at you and looks back, and he goes, "Usurper!" And he like roars, flings this thing, and like throws a portion of like the kind of fire back a bit and the stone back and grabs this club. And I need everyone to roll initiative as we get into combat with this giant.
Again, Joe Lau getting us into unnecessary conflict, man.
Love it.
Yeah, just did. Oh no, wait, sorry, right there.
The roll initiative.
Yep.
Aw. I don't have good rolls today.
Boom.
DM, can I ask for Ivo's perspective as where I'm at? Do I notice any sort of exit or anything, like just looking around the room? Because I know you described it a little bit.
Sure.
But is there anything that looks like a tunnel out of it or something?
Roll another perception check while you're here. I'll let you do that before. Before we get into combat, is there? I guess that's a good point. I will let you all do one kind of quick thing, or thing that you want to do for setup, since this conversation was going on before we actually start combat. So feel free to think through that as I get your initiative orders in. I've got an 18.
Can't he not get out? Can't they just
Right.
run back out the tunnel?
It's not the rules.
Fine.
But I'm asking if there's another. Wait, well, so the thing is, so we could.
Got a 15. Zunis got a 6.
Nate, I'm gonna for sure be prepping an Eldritch Cannon.
Okay. I'll say it's out and ready to go. Do you want to do like a walking cannon, or do you want to do like a hand cannon?
Like the one that's away from me, or just the one that I'm holding that gives me the extra? Either way, I get the extra attack, basically, right?
Correct.
Yeah, let me do a walking cannon.
Okay. I'll put it out in the field for you. So Dent got a 22. Zunis got a 6. I think I got everybody's then. All right, we're going to go ahead and start that. I'm just going to put a quick thing on the field.
Yeah, be careful of the cave-ins. That's a good point. That's what's his face will.
I mean, I feel like a giant wouldn't survive just stomping around.
It's the king.
Okay. Dent, so you see it, this green circle on the field is your walking cannon. So,
Can I talk to Dent? Is that like?
Yeah. What did you want to say to him?
So you have a walking cannon. What does that mean again? Like it's literally a cannon that you're walking around?
It's
Yeah,
like my cannon. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
It's basically a cannon with like metal legs that like can move around the battlefield almost like a walking sentry, and he can make it either shoot fire or put up a protective barrier, or just like blast like force cannonballs at creatures.
So I have Mask of the Wild where I can hide easily.
Uh-huh.
So I went in ahead of your cannon and started shooting, like hid somewhere and started shooting at him with arrows so he turned.
Okay.
Did you like put that in to attack?
Say that last part one more time.
So like he could then have the cannon go in and attack him from behind?
Sure. So you want to like like sneak in this way?
Yeah.
And then try to like start firing when everybody else starts going? Okay, we'll say that you hold your action for that, and then we can put the cannon down in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Rowena and Zunis, anywhere specific you want to be before this starts as we're kind of getting into combat?
I'd like to be somewhat close to the giant.
I will say because you hung back, the closest you can be is probably where Crag started to walk up. So right behind Crag.
I'd like to be around there too. And also, per the Find Familiar Belgium, Jaren gets his own turn, right?
Correct. Okay. So let's resolve a couple of quick things on this. For words. For Ivo, what you see in this space. Let's see if I can give you a little bit more of what you're looking at. Okay. So in this space, you again see kind of the area where the Worm King has kind of made this like throne room with this huge like padded bed of like hay and junk, a like very ramshackle chair, a giant fire pit that he kind of uses as his like flame. Behind the fire pit is just a junk pile, but you think he sees it as his like reward pile. There's like bloody bodies in here with like armor in this space. With a 22, by the way, you do recognize one particular body as a male human with red leather of the Koromir, just like brutalized. Like the body is just not in a good spot because a boulder probably fell on it. You do also see a chest and some other items here that does seem locked, with like assortments of like just gold and currency just kind of thrown out at ramshackle. Not like any real organization to it or any other type of like class. It's just been crudely thrown into this place. Around the other corner, you can just see just a little bit. It seems to go into another kind of space, kind of back around a smidgen. You can't quite see what's around there from your angle, but it does seem to kind of almost lead to like a small cliff that goes back into another room or another chamber of this cavern. Based on where you are in a pretty good perception roll, you think it's the same room as where the kind of pit that you saw was.
Okay, so no foreseeable like greater entrance, is all kind of connected.
Well, you scored pretty high. I'll give you one more thing. It's really hard to see from this angle, but right kind of near the edge of where that cliff, that kind of other junction point is that meets the other pit room. Let me see if I can mark it for you. Like right here-ish, there does seem to be an opening in the ceiling.
Ooh.
You can't quite see anything, but it does seem like there is a 5 foot wide cylinder leading up.
Gotcha. Very dope. Okay, cool.
And I'll say, yeah, you could see that from here too, and like a rope dangling down with a bell on the bottom of the rope.
With a bell. All right. Whoa.
Okay, so we're in combat. First up is going to be Dent. Dent, you've got your green cannon kind of positioned near this back wall. Lilu has been able to kind of sneak in really quickly and kind of set up shop behind it. You've got a few folks in front of you, but it's up to you what you'd like to do, friend. This tight space trying to fight this giant.
So I guess Can I talk to the giant real quick?
What do you want to say?
I want to ask him friend or foe.
You can. He kind of responds and goes, "You attack me and then have the dares to tell me otherwise. Of course I am now your enemy."
Thanks for clarifying. Okay. Let's go ahead and looking at stuff. Let's go ahead and hit him with the old Eldritch Cannon flamethrower. Can I move it to within 15 feet?
Sure. You can get it through there. What's the flamethrower? Is it a cone?
Is it a cone? Let me see. Flamethrower, damage, dexterity, can walk up 15 feet. It doesn't say anything about it being a cone.
Let's see. 15-foot cone of fire. Okay, so we can do that. I'm just
Oh
trying
my god, it is a cone. My bad.
No worries. So he needs to make it. I'm just trying to find a way to avoid it hitting Dent. Or Ivo, I should say. I think that's doable. We just aim it in this general direction. Yeah, that'll hit him and not Dent. Okay, so he needs to make a dex 14. He does fail, so he'll take 2d8 fire damage. Go ahead and roll your damage. Okay, 14 points of damage. Nothing so far seems to really be affecting this giant creature. But that was your bonus action. What would you like to do now?
I guess what I would like to do... So that was fire.
And then Ivo, you're on deck after this, just a heads up.
Guess I'm gonna hit him with. Guess I'm gonna hit him with Shatter. Take it from 60 feet.
Okay, Shatter, you said?
Mm-hmm.
What's the dex save on that?
3 do. What's the dex save? I don't know where dex save is. Dex save is. Sorry.
Con 14, sorry.
Con 14. Okay.
He succeeds, so I think he only takes half damage.
Toss these bad boys. 11.
Okay, so he's going to take, what is that, 6 points of damage?
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. All right, 6 points of damage to him. Not a bad first round as he kind of like wails a little bit in pain, but you don't get the sense he's super perturbed at this point or even concerned. Ivo, your turn, sir. And then Crag, you're on deck. Just a heads up.
So I feel like we've got a little logjam kind of situation going on. So at least I can move myself. I should be able to, right?
You may need to, in the settings for Encounter Plus, if you tap on where it says Encounter Plus at the top left, go to settings, and then for token, choose Ivo, and then you should be able to move yourself on your turn.
Token. Save. Okay. So I'm gonna just move him right over here.
Okay.
We get a little logjam space. Actually, I'll move him up even more, right there.
Yeah, totally.
And then I want to just gonna take my Shatter Spike to the Worm King, and just a nice slash of him. Before I do that, I want to take a quick peek over to Crag and just be like, "You idiot!" and lower the Shatter Spike as hard as I can into Worm King.
Okay, roll your attack. That was your attack roll. That's gonna miss. I'm almost certain. Let me double check. That will definitely miss. Not quite enough to get through. Like, you're basically swinging at like his kneecap. That's how like huge this thing is. Like right above his thigh, basically, or right at his thigh. And like you hit with Shatter Spike, and it even has a hard time digging into his muscle. You're gonna have to really give him a harder hit than that for it to actually damage him. Do you want to do anything else on your turn? You do get 2 attacks in a turn.
Yeah, I'm doing my extra attack. This time, full focus on the giant. No looking at Crag to give him a hard time for getting into this mess. Just instead of slashing, just try to like pierce it and stab him with it.
Totally.
Ugh.
That will hit. Go ahead and roll your
Nice.
damage. Okay, 8 points of damage. I'm just going to check one quick thing. Does he have any resistances? He does not. Okay, cool. 8 points of damage. As he kind of like, "Rawr! I will not be killed by some servant swine! Anything else on your turn? Any bonus actions or anything else?
That's all.
Okay, that'll end it. And we will go to Crag. Your turn. And then Thad is on deck, so I'll go next for him. Lilo, you're after Thad.
Alright, so this will be the first time I'm in combat, right? So like, I can just attack him with my longsword and then...
Yep, you totally can. My recommendation as a barbarian, first thing you probably want to do is like go into a rage.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Okay, so I'd go into a rage first.
Okay.
Is that something I click on?
I can do it for you, but there's an area where it says like under rage you get like 4 checkboxes. Just know you used it once out of the 4, and I've checked it for you.
Okay. And then can I attack after that, or
You can.
is there like a waiting period?
Nope, you can attack right. You've used your bonus action. You now have your action. On your action, you actually have the ability to swing twice with your weapons if you'd like.
Okay. So do I click a hit or damage?
You want to do the hit first to see if it actually hits his armor class. So hit that +5.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's see what we get. That hits. Nice job. And then you can roll the damage.
The first one or the second one?
The first one, because you've got a hand axe in one hand and the longsword in your other.
Okay.
See where that comes up. Okay, 3. So you're going to actually do 5 points of damage because you get a +2 while you're raging. You can swing once more with that longsword because you get an extra attack each turn. So do it once more, roll to hit, and then roll your damage again.
The top one or the bottom one?
The +5. The top one, the longsword. Boop, boop. All right, another 6 points of damage. All right, nice job. Okay, that was your bonus action because you used that to rage. That was your action. You attacked the 2 times that you get for your turn. Do you want to move anywhere, or are you good where you are?
I might move where Ivo.
Okay. Get right up next to Ivo there. Range. Alrighty, that'll end your turn, and we'll go to Thad. Let's see what Thad wants to do. Thaddy Thadderson. I think Thad is going to stay in the back. Is he bless? Thad, do you have bless? We will just cast Guiding Bolt then, I think. No, I want to save that. No, we'll do that. Yeah, we're going to cast Guiding Bolt and try to hit him with this spell. That will miss. So that's going to end that one. Any bonus actions for Thad? Nope. He's going to just maybe shift around Dent's other side to make more room and end his turn, bringing us to Lilu. Lilu, it's your first time in combat. I'm so excited. After 3 games, finally.
Question is all.
Of course. Totally.
Okay. So one of my spells is Hail of Thorns.
Yeah.
So do I do that as my bonus action, or is it on top of shooting my longbow?
Great question. It's kind of like a spell you cast on your longbow. So you cast it first as your bonus action, and then you fire your longbow, and then it does the extra magic.
Okay. I want to do that then. I want to shoot, aim for his head with my longbow with Hail of Thorns.
Totally. Okay, so you first kind of mutter to your longbow and get it all magically set up with these horns. You kind of see the arrow that you knock kind of starts growing these little vines and thorns out of it, kind of as it's prepped. So go ahead and roll your attack roll now with your longbow to see if you hit this thing. And you have advantage because he doesn't see you.
Good action. She's Francis.
Okay.
And if you right click on that +8, you get advantage because you are still hidden. He doesn't know you're there.
Yeah, advantage.
Oh.
I'll roll.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, that totally hits. So now you can go ahead first. You're going to roll the damage for the longbow, and then we'll do Hail of Thorns next. So next to that +8, it says 1d8 +3. You want to click that to do the damage. Awesome. So that's 5 points of damage. Plus, now you're going to do the Hail of Thorns, that 1d10. Awesome. Another 8 points of damage. Good hit. All right. 13 points of damage. Good move. So all of a sudden, he feels this arrow kind of prick in through a shoulder blade behind him. But as it happens, it kind of follows up with just this as just a hail of thorns kind of flies through the back of him. And he kind of roars in pains and looks back. He does see you there now, but it was well worth it as you kind of hit him pretty deeply. That will now bring us to Rowena. And then it will be the giant's turn. The Worm King.
You're on mute.
Thank you. I'd like to use Chill Touch to attack.
Okay, roll to hit with Chill Touch. That hits. So go ahead and roll the damage for Chill Touch now.
And it says it's necrotic damage.
Perfect. All right, 4 points of damage to this guy. Burp. There's another thing on my head. Darkness 1d8. And okay, perfect. So this guy can't heal up while this thing is holding him. But you again see this kind of spectral visage of this like hand reach out and just grab this giant, attempting to grab it by the neck, but it's really this like little dinky hand trying to like get there, just kind of scratching away at it. It does a little bit of damage to it, but he's there. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Does Jaren get to do anything?
Jaren does. He can take the help action. He can't really attack because he's a sparrow, but he can like, you know, go around, move, try to look around for stuff, kind of do those types of things. One of the really good benefits of having a familiar is they can take the help action, which basically means they can help you get advantage on every attack. And remember, anytime you have advantage on an attack, you get your sneak attack bonus. So technically, you can actually add your sneak attack bonus to, I think, your chill touch. Let me just double check if that applies to stealths as well. Finesse or ranged weapon. Nope, it has to be with like a physical weapon. But if you like are attacking with your like your rapier, etc., you can do that. The other thing you can do. No, you have to do sneak attack. And then just keep an eye on the Whales from the Grave feature that you get. Anytime you do hit with sneak attack, you can add that extra 2d6 on top as well.
Oh, okay.
But that being said, you still have a bonus action if you'd like, and you can have your Jaren go and do something if you'd like him to get closer or just kind of stay away.
Yeah, I'd like Jaren to. Can he investigate around the giant if the giant has?
Sure. Have him roll an investigation check. I'll put it in your extras later. Just roll a d20 for me right now, and I'll add a bonus if I find it. He doesn't find nothing. In fact, he's so distracted because he has now seen his corpse that he is just like flittering around it. Like you've never seen a sparrow have a panic attack before, but that's basically what's happening. All right, so that's now going to bring us to this giant. Unless you'd like to move anywhere, Rowena, or are you good there?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. So the Worm King kind of turns around at these now two kind of folks who seem to be his main attackers in front of him. And he goes, "No, you will not take my home. Freedom!" And he just like attacks at you. So first thing he's going to do. He is going to like, it's a very unsettling sight as he kind of looks at Crag, seeing as he kind of started this whole thing, seeing him as the rival king in this situation, given his demeanor before. One, like his small kind of gross eye turns first. You get the one that's the one he kind of looks out of, and that giant gross kind of pustulary eye swings separately. They kind of don't move in tandem, but he stares that one right at you. I need you to make a charisma saving throw, Crag. Charisma saving throw.
That's the CHA.
Yep. Okay, so you failed that saving throw. So as this eye kind of locks onto you, you just feel this like giant repulsive push enter your mind. You take 27 points of psychic damage.
Jesus.
Also, because you failed that, you start to feel something inside of you, almost like it's growing. And you look down trying to see what's going on. As you look down, you realize that your skin and these like once beautiful like muscular scales are starting to deform, and you're now growing these like pustules and growths all over your body that match the Worm King's kind of visage there. You now will also have disadvantage on all of your ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls while you are covered in these deformities, kind of matching the ugliness of this other creature.
Is psych damage different from regular damage, or do I have
It's not.
20?
It's only relevant if you're resistant or immune to it. Right now, when you're raging, anytime you take like an actual hit, you're only going to take half damage. But because this was psychic damage, you're going to take the full brunt of it. You're not resistant to it at all. That's really the only thing to note about the damage type.
27, you said?
27.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a big hit. This is what happens when you attack a fucking giant. All right, so it is now Zunis' turn.
Well, first, I don't know if this would count as my complete action, but can I help or Crag?
What do you want to try to help him do?
Well, I have heal wounds.
Sure. Roll a medicine check for me. You get the sense that that type of healing isn't going to solve this problem. It is it has changed his form. This is this is a curse and not damage.
This is not something that can be repaired or can.
It may
Sounds
be.
like
You think you maybe can remove this curse, or it might go away on its own, but healing it isn't going to make it better. It might heal back his life because he took a lot of damage. He's like bleeding and shit, but it's probably not going to fix this problem.
Got it. Okay, so kind of torn between two spells. Alright, I'm just going to stick with my original plan and go Moonbeam on Worm King.
Totally. What's the saving throw on Moonbeam?
Well, the damage is 2d10.
What's the column right before it?
14.
14. Okay, so he's got to beat a 14. What's the cylinder is 5 feet wide?
Yes. The diameter's
Okay, so it's going to land right on top of him, we'll say. He's going to try and make that saving throw. He does, so he'll only take half damage on this.
okay. Should I cast it?
Yep.
Or not? Alright.
And then roll the damage for it as well for me. As this like giant beam of light strangely comes from the ceiling of this cave, kind of illuminating everything else around it.
And Zunis grabs some worms that are in his inventory pack and throws them at the Worm King, saying, "Here's one of these."
Nice. Alrighty, he's starting to look a little bit beat up on that one. Still pretty tough though. That'll now bring us back to the top of the round. Dent, back on you.
Yeah, I want to turn to the group and just ask this really simple moral question. The guy clearly yelled out, "You will not take my home." I mean, what are we even doing here, guys?
That's crap. Like,
Yeah. I'm just trying to save our lives, basically.
I'd like to once again call out to the giant, worm creature, whatever, and just be like, "Hey, man, it doesn't have to end this way. We can help each other out here."
Okay, roll a persuasion check at disadvantage.
make sure to call him Worm King. King is important,
Yeah.
Rune.
If I call him Sir Worm King, can I roll it at advantage?
I'll tell you what. I was actually really impressed that you got hither and thither, so I will give you inspiration,
Okay.
which is just like the DM allowing you to have advantage anytime you want it.
Yes.
It will only make this a straight roll. It will not make it advantage.
If it's a straight roll, it's the only roll I got. Let's go.
All right.
Not 10.
See, let's
10
see
was
what
good.
happens. Not enough. So he looks at you and just kind of points that like googly gross eye in your direction as well. And he goes, "No, I will not be lied to again." You see like a new boil pop up from anger.
I'll do that.
Gross. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and, we tried diplomacy, we tried the soft power. Now it's time to hit him with... Okay. I'm looking at my second level. Okay, well, if he doesn't want to, play nice, let's hit him with the old catapult.
Okay.
Bastard.
What is that one on catapult? I think it's a DC
14.
14, yeah. Dex, right?
Yep, Dex 14.
He rolled a natural 19, so he does make it. With catapult, he takes no damage on that.
Okay. Well, thank God we've got that Eldritch Cannon, you know what I mean?
Totally. Are you doing a flamethrower again? Or are you gonna do something else?
Let's take a look. Let's see what else Eldritch does. We can do flamethrower or force ballista. Let's switch it up. Let's go for force ballista. Force ballista.
Okay, yeah, ballista for sure. I'm just trying to get your settings, how many you had set up. So we used one of the flamethrower shots. Now we're going to use a ballista. So you need to make a ranged spell attack. So can you do me a favor? It's the same roll as that +7. So anywhere on those hits it says +7, just roll it for me.
You mean +6?
No, I think
I
because
see.
you have one of your infusions gives you a bonus, so it's +7.
Got it.
So D20 +7.
19.
Oh, I see it in there. Perfect. That does hit, so go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, damn.
Awesome, nice, huge hit on this thing as this thing just boom, rocks right into this giant creature's chest, and he kind of screams out in pain. You starting to get the sense it actually is starting to kind of affect him, and he is getting angry and upset with this rabble in front of him. I was wrong, by the way. It should be +6, but it still would have hit him regardless, so no worries. But Ivo, that brings us back to you, unless Dent, you'd like to move first.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ivo, what would you like to do, friend?
So I'm gonna distance myself from Crag again, let him do his own shit over there, move up just a little bit, and then still with the Shatter Spike, the piercing seems to do better than slashing, so I'm just gonna take that right into his little ankles there.
Okay, go ahead and roll to hit. Why don't you go ahead and roll both of the attack rolls first, so we don't stagger it. So like you're gonna hit twice with it, so just roll 2 attack rolls, and then we'll add damage depending on which ones land. Okay, nice. First one definitely hits. Second one just misses. So first one, go ahead and roll your damage. Okay, 5 points of damage. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I don't. Let's see, I moved. I'm good.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, that will then bring us to Crag, the one who started it all.
Hope it was worth it.
Yeah, so I will just attack some more while enraged.
Alrighty, go ahead and again, just roll the attack roll twice, because you get to swing twice on your turn, and we'll do damage twice if they land.
Okay, clicking on this.
Let's see what we end up with. Alrighty, first one is going to miss, so go ahead and roll that again. Let's see if the second one hits. Do you get a bonus? Where's your rage? Rage. That one hits, so go ahead and roll damage. Awesome, nice. 10 points of damage to this thing. Actually, 12 points of damage because you're raging, so you get a bonus. Okay, you still have your bonus action, which means you can follow up now with your hand axe.
And I do hit DC on that one.
Exactly right. Yep. Every time you're trying to hit, you got to do that hit roll one first before you do damage to see if it lands. Let's see what we get. That does not hit. So you like take your longsword basically to this creature's like kneecaps and just and then try to follow up with your hand axe, try to get in there as well. You do get one clean shot off that does a pretty decent amount. But that is the end of your turn, bringing us back to Thad. Thad, seeing... Does Thad care about Crag? What a great question. Let's roll on check. Thad does not care about Crag. Okay, never mind. Thad then is going to cast... what would he want to do? What would he want to do? I think then he's just going to cast... Nothing. I think he's just going to get up there and try and attack this thing, I think. Unless there's anything else he's got. Yeah, no, that's what he's going to do. He's going to get up there and attack this thing with his fucking Helm's Retribution. See if he hits it. Boop. He does, and so he'll go ahead and roll damage because he's swinging with two hands with his giant warhammer. Hits this thing for 12 points, just cracks this thing through the kneecap, and you guys hear this vicious noise as like his cartilage just kind of breaks away. Alrighty. That's going to bring us back to Lilu.
Okay. I think I have an extra attack, right?
Let me check.
It says I do.
If it says, then yeah, you should.
Love that. Okay. So I'm gonna just do the longbow again and aim for his head from where I am.
Perfect, yeah. So you actually can swing, you can shoot that longbow twice. Nice. The first one hits. Second one hits, so go ahead and roll damage twice. Awesome. 5 on the first one. Ooh, nice. 11 on the second one, so 16 points. You also, by the way, have a feature called Dreadful Strikes. Anytime you hit a creature at all with your weapons, you can add a D4 to it. So if you scroll down a little bit to where it says Other, you'll see Dreadful Strikes in there. So hit that 1d4 button twice, and you're going to add that to it as well. So far you've done 16, 20, 24. Lilu, how do you want to kill the Worm King? As you just like, shoot 2 of these arrows straight into it.
Can I go through his big eye?
What's that?
I want to go through his big eye.
Yeah, you can try.
Let's do that.
All right.
Was that eye gross? I forget.
What's that?
Was that eye gross? I
It
forget.
was. It was super gross. So Lilu just kind of pulls back and just goes, thwack, thwack, pulls both of them. First one, the Worm King kind of turns around and gets it right kind of in like the cheek. But as he kind of lines back, his eye kind of turns on you, and you kind of sense he's about to do that same gaze back at you. And the other one just finds a connection right through it. And as you kind of like reach out through your Feywild power, you kind of think back to that magical crystal that kind of imbued you with this power. And you see just a little bit of purple kind of sting right on the end of the arrow as it kind of hits that pustule, and it explodes out. And as he kind of grabs his eye in pain, he goes, "No! Who will take care of my babies?" And he falls back on the ground as he kind of like screams in pain, dead, and this giant just... I need everyone to roll a dexterity saving throw as more tremors shake more boulders down to the ground. All right, Rowena's good. Lilu is good. Zunis, you're going to take some damage. Dent is going to take some damage. Crag is going to take some damage. Ivo, you're good. Okay, so it's going to be Zunis, Crag, and Dent, you all take 5 points of damage as more boulders fall on top of you in this space. But for the time being,
7, am I right?
for the time being, you are out of combat in this kind of area. You can explore a little bit more. So I'll explain a little bit of what you see. As you kind of look around in this area, you do kind of see now that the rest of this space is kind of a little, almost like a room in a house. There's like a chair set up, etc. As you kind of explore Ivo, where you saw that kind of hole leading up, you look up, and it is a long, really, like, this is clearly man-made kind of cylinder going straight up. Attached to the inside of the cylinder, kind of inset a little bit, maybe a couple of feet from the lip above you, is a metal ladder that just goes straight up into the kind of the tube going straight up. You look up in this tube, and only because you have the eagle eyes, you can kind of see the faintest flicker of light, which must be hundreds of feet above you. If not, maybe even further. You can't quite tell. It is almost imperceptible. More troublingly, though, in front of you is this like reddish congealed stain on the ground, and nearby are like shattered bones. These things clearly fell from that great height, almost as if this was just a pit that they were throwing corpses or maybe prisoners of the Lordless Crown down to the Worm King for some unknown reason. In front of you, you do see this kind of ledge, maybe of about 6 to 7 feet or so, that kind of leads down into the rest of that pit. It does connect to that deep pit going further down above you. In front of you is, again, hanging down from that same tube that leads upwards, is that long rope with a bell on the end. And then behind you, again, you have that kind of hoard pile, and the now kind of treasure hoard pile, and the corpse of the now dead Fomorian Worm King.
Damn.
Yeah, let's not go up.
Well, can we check out? Because you said there was some treasure, right, and some kind of artifacts and stuff.
I mean, from the outside, it looks like a bunch of junk. You don't know just yet, but you can look.
Can we take a look and see if there's anything worthwhile?
Okay. Anyone who wants to look, roll an investigation check. Joe, you will get advantage because you know what you were looking for.
Okay, I will roll an investigation.
Oh, nice, Rowena. Okay, net 20. Okay, nice. Ivo doesn't find shit. That does good. And Zunis does not bad. Crag not bad. Okay. Crag, was that roll with advantage?
No, that was not.
Okay, roll one more time. I just want to see if you beat out Rowena here. Okay, not quite enough. So, which is a shame. You rolled 2 net 20s. But not enough to beat Rowena. Rowena... yeah, you know. Rowena, in this case, Jaren was able to finally calm down and start looking around, and he kind of like purchased himself, finally seeming to get a hold of his emotions again, coming to terms with his death. He actually lands on the chest, kind of where like this big kind of broken ramshackle chest, and kind of like signals to you subtly that this is where you need to look first, and that's where you go. The chest is locked, but the lock is so shittily made. It's a junk lock. It's not really locked. Like, you think you're getting out your tools to try to do it. You put the lockpick in, and the lock just kind of like falls open. And inside, you find a couple of things. You find a ring that seems to be glowing a little bit, like it's got like a sheen to it. You also find a carved stone that you actually recognize a little bit. You have one of these. It is a sending stone, and you recognize it because you have one that connects you to your old friend, Torm. But you know that it's got to have a twin, and there's no twin here. This seems like it's just one, and you don't know who it connects to or who is on the other side of the sending stone. So that's that. Inside, you also find a ton of currency, and including what's around there, in that space, just so everyone sees it, you find about 1,200 gold pieces and 200 platinum pieces, which is quite a bit of treasure in this space, quite a lot of a nice hoard. And then you also find a very almost like satin shiny silk cloth that is wrapped around something that feels like rectangular and large.
I would like to look at whatever's in the silk cloth.
Sure. So you open the silk cloth, and inside of it is a book, and the book is like, first of all, it takes you a while to like unravel the silk cloth. It's like huge, and it was kind of like shoved around this thing. But wrapped around it is a book that is beautifully engraved in gold and like very vibrant paints. And on it are the words for leadership and influence. And as you kind of like open the pages, it's written in common. You can read it, but the letters almost have their own sheen, as if this book is somehow magical. And scrawled in this language that you quite understand is this like nasty writing in this brown ink of some concerning type of liquid you're worried or whatever. And you get the sense the Worm King was trying to read this book and make use of it, but couldn't ever figure out how. But that's what you see inside the cloth.
Okay, so I share this with everybody, and then I also so I check my math wrong, but there's 1,200 gold, and I count 6 of us, including, right? 200 apiece, and then what's 200?
You cut out there a little bit at the end, Rowena. What was that?
Okay, so we each get 200 gold, and then
About 33.
and about 33 platinum.
Sure.
I'm gonna run over and grab that cloth
Okay.
because I like it and it looks pretty.
Okay.
Joe's getting the game.
You gotta get selfish.
All right. So you've got this cloth. Are you taking any of the gold that they're offering you, or you're like, fuck it?
Yeah, I mean, if they're passing it out, I'll take some.
Okay.
Generous.
All right. So feel free to add those things. You do find that ring and the book and that sending stone as well. Does anyone want to hang on to those things, or you're all deciding to just kind of keep them inside the bag of holding that Thad has? What do you want to do?
I feel like the ring.
Yeah, I think we should keep it all. I'll take the names. I have experience in this.
Okay. So you've got the sending stone. Zunis said he's got the ring from what I heard. What about the book?
I believe that any of this is cursed.
You can roll an
Or
Arcana check
taking-
and see.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like that.
can I do that as well?
Whoever wants to try to figure that out, roll an Arcana check. Zunis doesn't find out shit. Rowena doesn't find out much. Okay, we'll come back to Lilu.
What about Thad? Isn't he good at Arcana?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see. Thad definitely knows as well. And Dent definitely knows as well. Okay, so for Dent, you know all of these things actually really well. For Dent and Lilu and Thad, they all know that the ring that Zunis took is definitely magical. It's hard to tell from afar, but Dent actually has made similar things like this when he was an artificer with the Erzatsarai. That is a ring of jumping, and it can help increase your jumping distance. The The sending stone is obvious. Rowena already knows what that is. But for Thad kind of shares like, hey, let's be careful because we don't know who's on the other end of this, but we should keep it because if someone tries to call out to it, we might figure out who was trying to talk to the Worm King. So Thad shares that piece of information. And then Thad and Dent aren't sure, but they're pretty certain that that book is a really powerful tome that can somehow amplify your abilities if you could read it and understand what it's saying. You're not sure exactly what at this point. You'd have to read through it and kind of get a little bit more understanding of it. But whoever kind of decides to keep it, we can walk through it. Lilu, with your role, I am going to send something to you specifically.
Where?
I'm going to send it to you on text message.
Okay.
Because I think that's the fastest thing I have access to.
I will take the book.
It's got poop stain.
Nothing
Gonna
can,
say that.
nothing can be grosser than that eye.
Love the idea of a good poop stain.
What's called?
All right. So you've all got your stuff. Feel free to add to your inventory as appropriate. And I can help you all do that afterwards if you need it as well. Just remind me what we're adding. That being said, here's where we are. You've got a dead Worm King in front of you. You get the sense, at least in part, this creature was somehow responsible for the reputation of this place. But there still seems to be another mystery. There's the giant pit in the other room, the rope with the bell, and the pathway that leads up.
Can I do an Arcana check on the bell?
Sure. I can tell you pretty easily. You would know this because you've seen magical things. The bell doesn't seem to be magical.
Okay.
Yeah, I would assume, given having scoped out the area, that this is more of a dinner bell kind of situation where whenever they want to get rid of someone, they throw them down the shaft and they ring the little bell. Is my kind of
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Classic dinner bell situation.
From my end, Ivo is definitely very antsy and excited about this climb up the ladder and leaving the cavern up into what seems like possibly into the mountain or into Raven's Point.
Sure. You can always try and go back the way you came.
Yeah, Greg doesn't care about the hole in the wall. So he's going to start walking back the way that we came.
All right. Crag is starting to leave and make his way. What does the rest of the group do?
Wait, what about the...
We're not going to investigate more to potentially find the...
Say that again, Zunis. You cut out there at the end.
Oh, we're not going to investigate more to find the hole. We're just going to give it the once over.
You can if you want to. Do you want to go investigate the pit over there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
What is the cave?
So you walk over there kind of to the ledge, and you see like inside that space from here, there is just a plethora of mutilated corpses that are in just like different states of destruction, but they're all pretty mangled. But in this space, this cavern terminates into what is seemingly a dead end, albeit a large one. In the center of this large, expansive chamber is a wide, apparently endless pit. From this vantage, you can see into it pretty well. And it seems to be just a pit into the abyss with a strange bluing glow from it. Can I have everyone roll a history check, actually? Actually, not everyone. Zunis, Rowena, Thad will, and Ivo will. Roll a history check. Just want to see if you remember something. Thad definitely does. So he'll bail you
At this point, could Crag tell us?
He couldn't because Crag hasn't been here before. But Crag, I think, is leaving. I don't think Crag is sticking around.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Ivo, cool. Okay. So Ivo and Thad, you recognize this kind of otherworldly color. This color reminds you of the Underdark. That kind of deep otherworld underneath Tharvan that you know exists on other islands, but little pockets of it do. And that's how you actually teleported, because there were some magical teleportation crystals underneath underneath in the Underdark. And that's how you went from Tharvan to Wadep when you were escaping the Erzatsarai tunnels. So you recognize that this tunnel probably goes so far deep it hits another pocket of the Underdark, which is likely how the Fomorian, how the Worm King was kind of living in this space that was kind of smaller in where he was kind of settling down. But it does still concern you because around this pit are just multitudes of like bone and decayed flesh. The stench truly is overwhelming. But as you notice, as you approach, the tremors aren't violent as they were before, where they were, shaking down boulders and things, but they almost seem to be steady, almost like something is anticipating and sensing that you are nearing this pit.
Let's not go near the pit. Let's stay away from it. Let's go up the ladder.
There's nothing good that can come. I think we did our duty. That's enough for me.
Wait, team. So to jog my memory. So Renaya wanted us to find the well, but she also wanted an artifact. What artifact am I supposed to?
The artifact was the Well of Many Worlds.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the pit was.
Yeah, as of this point, you don't know if the Well of Many Worlds has been found.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I say let's leave them. I agree.
So, are we going up the ladder? Crew that's left?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ladder was where we saw a bunch of, like, remains being
Correct.
thrown down, kind of?
Exactly. The ladder is, like, right here.
Sorry.
And it leads straight up. And dangling from this ladder, kind of at, like, eye level, basically, for everyone here, is a really thick rope with a pretty big, like, brass bell on the end.
Before we leave this area, while Craig is still with us, can I investigate the cloth at all that he's trying to take?
I'll let you retcon that a little bit. But he started walking off away with it. So I'm going to say he's like a good like 30 to 60 feet away from you because no one seemed to care about him leaving. But what do you want to look for?
I want to see if it's magical at all.
With that earlier check, it's definitely magical.
What can I do? Can I do
Insight.
insight?
Insight or perception?
I would say insight. If I think I know what you're trying to figure out, roll an insight.
Not good.
Not great. You have a hard time. You haven't seen very many Dragonborn in your day. It's hard to get a read on them. So you're not sure why Craig just decided, like, did he leave because he was over this bullshit? Didn't find what he wanted and left? Was he like, okay, I got what I want and I can go? He left, and that's pretty much all you can pick up.
Okay. I'd like to yell at Craig and ask him why he's leaving so quickly with the cloth.
Craig, you can still hear her. Up to you what you'd like to do.
I'm just gonna ignore the little chirping and walk away. Continue my walk without saying or doing anything.
Okay, as you're yelling, by the way, the tremors now start to get more violent.
Okay, that's good.
Ivo and Dent, what's your rationale for checking up the upstairs?
Get up to Raven's Point. It's a way out, and perceiving there was something up there, right? They're throwing bodies down, so there's more people up there. Thinking that's the way to go.
Yeah, it sounds like more combat.
Well, I don't foresee any other way of getting out of here. The other pathway we would go down seems to lead to just the pit to the underworld.
Can't. So, is Crag trying to exit it? Or
So he's
what is
going
Crag's?
the way we came, at least into the giant area, it seems.
Yeah, Craig's basically just like doubling back and leaving the way he came. At least from what he told us earlier. Unless you're trying to do something else, Craig.
I want to.
That's what I'm doing.
So, Craig, you're basically giving up on the mission.
If you think so.
He's not giving up on the mission. He's doing his mission. I'm going after my paramour.
I want to follow Crag.
Okay, that's what you're doing. You follow Crag. We'll do it this way. Crag, roll an athletics check. We'll do a contested athletics check. So Crag, roll an athletics check, and Lilu, you're taking off after him. Roll another athletics check. As you're running and making noise, the tremors are getting really severe. Okay. Got to beat an 11, Crag. Let's see what we do. Okay, Crag has just like taken off. You can't even realize where Crag is. He's using his like entirety of muscle. He's booking it. You are certain at this point, whatever he took was what he wanted. He would not have fled with such a plum there. And so he just took off, and you no longer can see him or track him down. Crag, we're going to circle back to you fleeing in a hurry in pitch darkness while there are cave-ins. So more to come on that. 2, all of this running and noise making, the tremors are now hyper violent. Boulders are starting to fly through. More worrisome though, all of the tremors seem to be starting from this location down near where the pit is. In fact, you start to see this like creature face start to appear. The head of this thing is now very obvious what's been causing these tunnels. This huge, giant, worm-like creature with like these huge teeth lined in concentric rows in his mouth kind of break out of the front of this pit and kind of like see through. You can't even see its entire form as it kind of crests the top of this hill, and it just like screams, trying to eat whatever is around it. There is no eyes. It's just sensing your presence through feeling and scent a bit, you assume. This is clearly the creature that the Worm King was talking about as his babies. You hope it's the only one, but this thing is like 3 times the size of the Worm King, and is hungry and is about to start attacking all of you soon. I'm just going to give you all a little bit of a heads up where you are based on your conversations. Ivo is closest to here because he wanted to scope it out. Crag is like out of the map. He's hauled ass. Lilu is trying to chase after him over here. Everybody else is kind of near this fire pit as they were still exploring and divvying out the goods. So I'm going to give you all about maybe 1 go each, decide what you want to do, and we're going to work through trying to escape from this thing, or we're going to have to fight it.
Ivo is just going right up the ladder.
Okay. Ivo rings up the ladder. As you go up the ladder, because you're in a hurry, you're not paying attention, you ring the bell. Like, you hit it as you just kind of kick it. As you do it, you notice this creature's kind of like, "Ugh!" and like screams back in your direction, opening his mouth, kind of biting off in that area, and takes a big chunk of the earth out of the way as he tries to scramble up towards this thing. More concerning, there are clearly more underneath it that now the bell has triggered, and more tremors are starting to go through. You can't imagine more of these things even fitting in this space because it's that massive. But you start climbing up this ladder. Who's next?
Yeah, I'm following immediately. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Cool. You jump up. You do the same thing. You kind of climb that ladder as well as you make your way up to the top. Let's say Thad kind of does the same thing. Thad is struggling getting up the ladder. He is not quite tall enough, so he jumps on the rope, trying to pull himself up that way. He does make it. He's on the ladder as well, climbing up there, trying to escape these giant purple worms jumping out. Let's say Rowena or Zunis, what do y'all want to do?
I want to follow up the ladder.
All right, you can do so easily with your acrobatics. Zunis, what's your goal here?
All 5'8", 188 pounds, hauling as much ass as he can, using all of his skills.
Nice. You get up the ladder as well. Easy for you. You're of a good height. You can jump it and make it. Lilu, you are far away. What is your game plan?
I'm going to keep trying to chase after Crag, because if he's in darkness, I have dark vision, so I'm going to go look for him.
Okay. I would like you both to roll dexterity saving throws. Crag, you're going to do that at disadvantage because you cannot see what's happening in front of you. All right. Lilu. Lilu, you're going to take 8 points of damage. Crag, miraculously, completely through intuition, you are able to make it beyond the boulders as they collapse. All of the tunnels in front of you between Crag and Lilu have now broken down. This creature has now freed through it, sensing that the others have started to go up the tunnels. He's only coming after you, Lilu. You are damaged and hurt. I need you to roll either an acrobatics check or athletics check to try to get the fuck out of this boulder. Otherwise, you were pinned, and it is not going to look good for you.
So close to being 20.
You are just able to get out from under this rock, so you are clear to try to make another dash. But this thing is moving after you, and he can move faster than you. What would you like to do? You just see him like churning earth. Like, it's very clear now the reason why these walls are so smooth is this thing has just been boring these tunnels. And it is like bearing down on you. Just cleared the crest of it. His whole form now is outside of this tunnel. And he's like, what is it, like 60 feet long on this? How big is this thing? He's huge. He's like gargantuan size.
I'll try to.
Way in front of you is blocked by boulders. Just a heads up. All of this has been caved in.
Oh, I'm gonna try to hide.
Okay, roll a stealth check.
Pretty stealthy.
Very stealthy, but well, you're a ranger. You might know this, so I'll give you a shot here because I don't want this to be too hard. Roll a nature check for me. I want you to get a sense of this thing. Okay. This thing is a worm. Worms don't have eyes. Hiding might not help you.
Wait, how do I sense people then?
So the game mechanic will do this as a learning moment. He has a feature called blind sight, which basically means he can just see anything within 60 feet in front of him, if it's like a living or moving thing. He also has like kind of like how moles have like tremor sense. They can sense when things are moving around them. Actually, I should say his blind sight is only 30 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'll give you this because your stealth roll is pretty good. You could make it here and hide, and as long as you don't move, he would not be able to sense you. His blind sight is only within 30 feet, so if you're outside of that range, he can't tell where you are. And if you are not moving, causing any tremors, he can't figure out where you are.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll say you're successfully hidden, based on his senses, but you still can't move and you're kind of pinned down. Let's see which direction this creature ends up going in. Okay. He's actually going to head due north, kind of back into the pit, and he's going to start carving out more earth in this direction. You've got a little bit more time, but I need everyone on the ladder because he moved northward to roll an athletics check or an acrobatics check to see if you can hang on to the ladder that you're on. Because now this thing is like starting to churn up the earth connected to where you are. Just send him in here. All right. Rowena stays on. Zunis, I'm just waiting for yours to go through.
It was 15.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, I don't know why it's not loading for me. Dent, you're good. Ivo, did you roll, Ivo?
I did.
Did not come through.
Did I go through?
No, it's just taking a while to load. Let me try and refresh it.
I think it was a 13, if I remember right.
You should be good. Okay, anyone who got more than an 11 is fine. So you guys are hanging on as this thing's moving there. Lilu, you've got a little bit of a window. You can try and dash and get up there, but I need a good athletics check to make it happen.
Bye, guys. I'm stuck here.
You are, so you get about here. You can only go about your full distance. You can get right underneath the ladder, but you are not you don't have enough extra movement to make the jump. This creature now sees you running, turns right around, and starts bearing down on you. We're just going to see how lucky you are. Roll a D. Actually, no, that one. Do a dexterity saving throw as this thing tries to plow into you. All right, we're gonna do a dexterity saving throw for him, and if he beats a 16, he's gonna hit you. He rolled a 16. What's your dex bonus? +3. Okay, so
Mine's +6.
Hers is +6.
For your dexterity? Oh, okay. Save. No, that's fair. You have a higher save on you. So you just grab the bottom rung and are barely able to get that as his tooth closes right out, and he just grasps there and keeps drilling down. Now that you're not touching the ground anymore, he can't quite grab. He can't quite sense you anymore. You do have purchase on this ladder as you're climbing up. So you are all now climbing straight up as this creature below you is just frustratingly carving out new tunnels in this space. And you notice that he is just blindly eating through earth and stuff as he's kind of ruining this whole space, making new tunnels. Ivo, roll a history check as we're climbing up, and this will be just for you. And this is what we'll end our campaign on, or our session on today. Cool. Nothing about this strikes your fancy or reminds you of anything, but you all climb up this ladder, heading towards what you hope is the secret entrance that Karna spoke about, towards Raven Rock, and hopefully toward Maglyssa and rescuing your paramour as we end the session tonight. And that's where we'll end. Thanks, everyone. On to the next adventure.
Huzzah.
Huzzah.